We are now live on Facebook, ladies. So welcome everybody, and sorry for the delay. We've got been a little bit stressful getting us all up together, but here we are. We've got myself, Dr. Zen Moffat, and we've got Elaine McKinlay, and
Hi.
we've got Clara Moore.
Good morning.
Wave, ladies. So we are Glasgow's Decluttering Dream Team. And we are here to answer questions that you have about clutter and living in lockdown and how we cope. And today our special topic is creative storage solutions and how we do that when we can't just go to the shops and buy stuff. And yeah, what do we do? And what do we do with the amount of stuff that we bought and overbought, and where do we put it? So if people have a question, we've got a couple of questions to kick the ball rolling, start the ball rolling. I do switch up my words, it's quite funny. Anyway, to start the ball rolling, we have a couple of questions, and if anybody is feels that they want to ask a question, you can either ask a question on my Facebook feed, and Elaine and Clara will pick those up, or you can text one through to our old school mobile phone, and the phone number for that is, can one of you ladies read it?
07726 530217.
07726530217, and that is also out on the little media poster that Elaine's son did for us. So it says, so you can either text that number and I'll pick that up, or leave a message. And this week I have opened up messages and comments to the whole world, so you should all be able to, but any problems, obviously let us know. Now then, I'll just check in with my colleagues. Elaine and Clara, are we coming up yet on Facebook?
Yes, I just answered a Facebook query from David asking how he could get in today's chat, so he should be in now that we're up.
Okay, and is the film playing?
I don't see it yet, Zen.
I don't see it.
Okay, well, just keep your eyes on it. It should come up soon, we hope. So, but we'll just keep chatting and see what happens. So we have a couple of questions, and the first question comes from someone who listened to our program last week and took the advice, thought it was very good advice, but hasn't quite been able to put it into practice. So I'm just going to pull her up now. And she says, your advice to do decluttering little and often and reward yourself is all great advice. Unfortunately, I have failed to take it. I've been prioritizing walking and cycling, as Cornwall's nature is so glorious at the moment, plus talking to people, taking photos and writing a diary, all good things. But I need to get on with decluttering, so I plan to do some while watching you today. Hello, hope you can see us. But she continues, I'd like some advice on Clutter Talk about how I can get rid of stuff after lockdown has ended. Are there any websites you can recommend where you can sell goods without the host taking a commission? Also, I've never done a car boot sale or sold from my house or locally. How do I do that? Thanks. Now then, I'll just start the ball rolling and say this is quite a tricky area actually, because there's so many different platforms you can sell or pass things on. And I think for me, the number one priority is do you need to make money from it? And if you do, then you can go down one path. But sometimes the amount of time you spend trying to sell something, you'll actually earn less than minimum wage. So it's actually about valuing your time and how much, what are the pros and cons. But I'm now going to pass on to Clara, who I think might have some more experience about this. So go, Clara.
I've worked with clients who have sold on items, and that's through Facebook pages, local Facebook pages that they've given themselves a deadline of when they realistically will sell by, and what they'll do if they haven't sold by that time. So for example, if they haven't sold within 2 weeks, then they're going to donate items to a specific charity, or perhaps arts and crafts stuffs to a school or a nursery. That's one way. Another way is I've worked with clients where I've organised for book dealers to come in and give a valuation on the books that the people are happy to let go of, and they've sold books on that way. Oxfam is a charity that will, if you have boxed books that are easy enough to lift for someone to lift, so not overfilled, so the boxes are sealed and counted, and if you contact Oxfam, then in normal times, when the shops are open and there aren't any governmental restrictions, then they will arrange for a van to come and uplift those books at their expense. Or you can take the books there yourself if you're not wanting to have money from them. But in terms of earning money, I've also had clients use Gumtree. So there's various different, and eBay, there's various different platforms you can sell goods on, but it's being realistic with yourself. You also might find within your local area that there might be, for example, clothes dealers who might come out and buy clothing from you, or you can use the shops. Can either of you, Elaine and Zem, remember the name of the shops where you can sell on clothes and children's toys? It's done by weight, and you don't get a great deal of money. But again,
oh yeah, Cash for Clothes.
Yes, Cash for Clothes.
Cash for Clothes.
And again, in normal times when they're open, you can arrange for them to come up and weigh the things at your home and take them away. So again, that's a useful way if you're wanting to get rid of a lot of things and get some money, but not have to go to the expense or the trouble of moving it out yourself. Elaine, have you other tips?
I want to say just be wary of the idea of maybe going for taking it to a car boot sale or things like that. Sometimes we have really good intentions and want to go and do all that. And what that does create is it creates a build-up of items in the house, the so-called going to the car boot sale corner or whatever, and then they never quite get there. So I think Clara's advice is very good, to make sure that if you can donate, or if you can get in any of these organizations in to remove the items from the home. But I think setting a time scale on it is crucial, really, because you could, I have been into clients who actually have had things that they've wanted to go and sell at a car boot sale, but it's been a year later when they've said, oh yeah, maybe I should really go and do that. Well, really it's defeating the purpose. It's taking up space in your home, and you probably could have donated it off, to someone earlier than this. So just be wary of that. Just be wary, I think we would maybe suggest that as we declutter, that we look at getting the items out of the house, as quickly as we can, whether it be the way that Clara has suggested or other ways, but try and manage it that way. Zem.
Hello, and just to let everyone know, you have joined Clutter Talk, and this is our second episode, and we're speaking from different houses in Glasgow, and we've got Elaine, give her a wave.
Hey,
and
hi.
Clara.
Hi.
And myself, Zem Moffat, and we are talking today about how to cope in lockdown, and we've just been answering questions about getting things ready for potentially selling, and how the best thing to do that is if you've never done a car boot sale, and our advice on it. My advice on it is actually, it's quite surprising. Some things that you think you'll get a lot of money for, you don't. And other things. So my absolute score was 15 laurel bushes, which I lived at that point in the Forest of Dean, and I put 15 laurel bushes on eBay, and I think I got like nearly £300 or something ridiculous. And I worked out that they are about 30 quid a pot if you go to a garden centre. But plus, I got someone to come out with his dad and dig them up. So I had to do no work, and they took away 15 healthy plants, and I got money, and it was amazing. But other things that I thought I would get £100 for, I got like £1 for. So I think it's kind of, I sort of treated it as more of an adventure. and it also is a way of connecting. So we spoke about car boot sales, and it's sometimes nice to do that with friends. So you can do that as a sort of a Sunday event. You can just all club together, and maybe from the money you treat yourself to a holiday, or maybe you need it for a new boiler or for just your general needs. But it's quite nice to do it collaboratively. So any of these things, and look to your local networks. So if you're in Mumsnet or the Rotary Club, or look to your local networks to join in. And if earning money from your stuff is not a priority, then look to using your stuff to help raise money for a charity that's close to heart. So joining in with a picture sale of your local hospice, or even starting one, and then you'll make more connections through that. And money might just start coming towards you anyway, even if your main intention isn't to earn money from the stuff. So, ladies, can we check again and see if we're going live on Facebook yet? Is the video playing?
No. I don't think it's playing. It says live on Facebook, though. It says up in the corner of my screen. So
if you go onto my Facebook account, is it streaming?
Yes.
Yay! Excellent.
I think so.
Oh, what
Yes.
fun. Yay! Oh, we finally got it working for everybody. We've had a few struggles. I am now on my partner's computer because I tried on mine, and bless it, I think it's getting a bit old, and it was getting very, very hot, and it just wasn't doing anything. So we're all in a different point of view from last week, and you'll see Elaine's nicely in a new, because the light has changed. And Elaine was talking before about dark areas in her house and trying to work with the light. So she has shifted for your point of view for today. But Elaine, did you have something to say?
No, I'm just saying, no, that's fine. Yeah, I've shifted around, just moved it to the other end of my office here. So that's good.
and
Clara.
Elaine, oh yeah, Clara, go on then.
I was just also going to say, keep in mind areas that are already set up. If earning money from things that you're decluttering is a goal of yours, you can resale gold, and it can be mismatching odd earrings, broken chains. There are lots of shops set up for that. You can resell things if you bought a hoover or a juicer. If you've had the best of intentions, you bought electrical items, then there are shops you can sell on computers, laptops, just clear them first, phones. So there are lots of shops open, and I've worked with clients and they've been surprised. They've had their cupboards filled with old hoovers or steam washers. They're in their box. They don't have to be in their boxes. They just have to be operational. So there are different ways that are already, pathways that are already there, that if that is a goal of yours to earn income from your clutter.
And yeah, and actually another point is that you'll often find, I'm just working with the computer, I don't quite know what's happened. Oh, Elaine's got something going. Have you got something going on there?
No, sorry, that was your Facebook Live. Sorry, I've turned that off now.
Turn that off, otherwise we'll get feedback. But I was also going to say, actually, in the decluttering process, you may come across like unpaid checks and money, and we often say that, like, sometimes our fee is found in the process of decluttering, and actually just through organizing your money, picking up all those coins from behind the sofa, and actually you'll actually be surprised, like hundreds of pounds. And there's a story that goes around the decluttering community that someone found a £40,000 check which was uncashed. So I think that's remarkable. So also in the process of decluttering, and also think about the money that you're saving by not going out to buy even little things like sellotape, because you find you've got a stack of it and you no longer need to buy it. So my computer's doing something really weird. Here we go. I'm back. Clara's going to save me. Clara has something to say.
I was going to show you, we were talking about doing storage solutions. So
thank you very much.
Not repeat buying sellotape. This is a drawer that I've repurposed from my sideboard, and instead of having what would be cutlery in it, I've got my sellotapes for packaging. So I've got my scissors, I've got my remote controls, and I've got iPhone headphones. So don't repeat buy, use your storage that you've got, repurpose what you've got.
And I think that's a really good point, Clara. I often say, you know, that the answer is closer than you think, and you'll actually find, rather than that compulsion to go out and buy, actually the answer is often much closer to home. And with my clients, they often literally just need to put their hand there, and it's there, even if they kind of think it's not. They just need to sit with it, go through it, and you'll find what you need. So let's move on to organising solutions. So last week, the question came up about, well, if we can't go out and buy stuff, then how do we organise? Can we reorganise stuff in our house? And Clara had a very good point about reusing boxes and putting things in. So we've brought a few examples that we can share with you. So I might pass on to Elaine. And actually, before I do, Elaine can give can introduce us again in the chat show. So I'll pass on to Elaine.
Hi, so I'm Elaine of Clear Mountain Decluttering and Lifestyle Organising, and we've got Clara Moore from Joy of Space and Dr. Zem Moffat of Insightful Moves. And we are all professional organisers and members of APDO, the Association of Professional Declutterers and Organisers. And as an organisation, we are all independent companies that work throughout the whole of the UK, actually. And if you are struggling with clutter at any point, you can pop onto the website, which is www.apto.co.uk, and have a look at a declutterer near you. And we all specialise in different aspects of decluttering. And Clara, Zem and I also run courses at the Lifelong Learning Centre in the University of Strathclyde. So we all specialise, as I said, in different bits and pieces. And so my bag is decluttering and motivation. And Clara is our resident KonMari expert. She was the first consultant in Scotland. And Dr. Zem is just our person who knows everything about everything. So let's move on to having a look at what kind of ways we could use the items in our house to store things in different ways. And I was having a look in my office here, and I came across a wire basket for files that I wasn't using. So I am now using this in my cupboards in the kitchen to hold all my foils and cling film, etc. Now it can be used like that to hold them in on its side if it fits in better that way, you know, or that way. But this is something that's not usually for the kitchen, but I'm actually using it in a different way. And you may start to find things around the house that you could repurpose, as Clara said, to help out during this time where we can't get out to buy more things. Clara, have you got anything?
Yes, I've got different categories of things. So I have a puppy, so I keep all the puppy treats easily upright.
Actually, guys, I'm going to interrupt slightly and let everybody know that Clara Moore is a Marie Kondo expert. Are you the first or the second in Scotland?
I'm the first in Scotland, and I was the second in the UK.
Can you tell everyone a little bit about your skill as a folding expert?
Yes, so with the Marie Kondo method, it's making the best use of your space and having upright storage where possible. So instead of storing, for example, if you have a laptop, instead of storing it flat, store it on your side like the spine of a book. so that you're making the best use of your space. The folding technique, these are tights, so they're rolled. And so instead of, for the ladies out there, or people who enjoy wearing tights, because I know some men might wear them in the winter when it's a cold day underneath their running gear. So they're rolled so that you can easily see what you want and locate it. Socks, again, folded so that you can just, it's a lovely wee folded parcel. You can just take it out. You can see what you've got. These are my daughter's things, hence the tiny wee tubs, because she's a wee petite thing. And this is pajamas. So you can clearly see, you can store it by colour, by pattern, whatever pleases you. And when these wee parcels, they stand up and they don't need ironed. It'd be too difficult to show you a folding technique just now. It's not really set up for that, but really it's about upright storage. These here are out of season summer dresses folded with the technique. So you can, there's only 3 in here because I had a big declutter, but you can fit a lot in here in a small amount of space. And again, using clear storage, this is shoes, then you can clearly identify what you have at a glance. You don't repeat buy, and it's organised for you. Will I just go back to repurposing? So
yeah, go back to repurposing, absolutely. And
which doesn't have any sharp edges, and these are the puppies things. So that's just a way that you can clearly store pet things easily for those of us who have pets. For those of us who have children or artistic tendencies, you can repurpose. This was a wee free cup. Pens. This is again paintbrushes for art supplies, crayons. So this is just using things around the house, and this was used for shoes, but now it's used for felt tips, because I've had to confiscate the felt tips from the children to stop them drawing on the walls and furniture through boredom. And this is just stored, keeping paints. So it just means we know where things are. It's stored tidily, and again, this can be stored on its side like the spine of a book, so you're not taking up lots of a footprint in your cupboard. For those of us who, even though we're not going out a lot, or we shouldn't be at the moment, for those of us who do go out and do a weekly shopping, then have your keys somewhere that it's easy to store them, so you can leave the house with the least stress possible, especially at these times when our stress levels are much more than usual. So I've got my car keys, I've got my house keys, and I've got the bike lock key. So it's just a really easy way. I love this. It feels really good to me. It makes me want to choose somewhere that it makes you want to return your items to. And another one that's very topical just now, this has plastic gloves and hand sanitizer, and this is stored by the front door, so it reminds me to keep myself safe and keep my family safe. And it's clear, so even if I went to walk by it, I would see, oh yeah, that's the hand sanitizer, I'm going to pop that in my pocket. So that's just some different ways of repurposing things.
Thank you, Clara. And I think some of the things I picked up on was repurposing and your use of clear plastic boxes as well, so you can see what's in. And remind us of where, if people wanted to kind of, you've got some videos, don't you, on, you've got some videos of your work, have you, on Joy of Space?
No, there are videos, of Elaine, yourself and I when we presented at the Ideal Home show. So there are videos that you can see. I do have a YouTube channel that I posted on, but just to say as well, it's thinking creatively in your home. Elaine and I worked with a client together who has ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So for them, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So in that circumstance, to make their homework better for them, one of our recommendations was removing the cupboard doors off of the cupboards in the kitchen and then setting it up in a way that made sense for that person, so that that step that was blocked for them between doing the dishes to putting the dishes away, or between buying the shopping to actually getting the shopping in the cupboard, that block was removed, because they could see at a glance, okay, I've done my dishes, oh yeah, I need to put it in that cupboard. And it wasn't anything to do with an intellectual block or a motivational block. It was purely down to the way that their brain was wired. And through not seeing, it was causing a visual block for them. But conversely, for somebody, it might cause too much stress for someone who likes things put away. So that's not a solution for everyone. Some people might actually work better with opaque storage that you can't see through. It has to suit the individual.
Yeah, thanks, Clara. And I think that's really interesting as well, because I'm just wondering, people can still hear me? You can hear me? Yeah, because if you look at kitchens that have been designed like dementia-friendly kitchens, which is also about kind of attention and memory, they advocate clear glass doors to the fridge and glass doors to the cupboard. So you're not having to think, I need a cup, where is my cup? Mm-hmm. You can just see it in the cupboard. So I think that's really interesting. But I think also Elaine has some other storage techniques that she was about to show us.
Yeah, I think when we start to declutter, we start to find things in cupboards that we'd forgotten about, or they were pushed to the back of the cupboard and we're saying we don't know what we could use that for. So I have found a little basket like this, which I think's probably been a present at some point. And I've repurposed it into a little basket, a nice little basket to hold all my lifestyle books and things like that. So they're all in the one place. So think about when you find something, how you might be able to use it in a different way. I've also got a little glass flower bowl thing, and I've used it to keep my lemons in, because I thought, yeah, you know what, it's at the back of the cupboard. It could be out on the worktop in the kitchen. So I thought that looks quite nice. It's quite, nice and sunny. My lemons are there. I can get them easily when I'm doing my lemon tea to make me feel good. So yeah, just think about things, because we have a lot of stuff that we have hardly ever seen, that's in our cupboards, that have been in our cupboards for years, and actually are quite useful. So think about it, have a wee look around, see what you can find. Be interesting if you could get back to us and tell us about different things that you've found and how you have repurposed them. For next week, maybe you could text in and tell us what you've found and how you've reused it.
Thanks, Elaine. I think that's a really good idea. And I want to share with people my what I've got here, which is, you see that? This is my sentimental. So I like to repurpose things also with kind of a positive emotion. So obviously, well, for some of you, my surname's Moffat, and there's a place called Moffat in Scotland, and they sell toffee, which is really quite sort of tooth decaying and delicious. So I now use this tin for my pens. And I have also, what I do is I kind of decorate folders with old photographs, or my address book with old photographs, and so that you can see. So all my packaging is kind of, I use it as a craft project as well, and so you can also kind of get creative with your stuff. So it's actually a good way of reducing the amount of stuff you have in your home. So for example, one of my education certificates, I took out I made photographs of my graduation ceremony and of the books, and I let go of the books, and then around the certificate I made a frame of the photographs, because I'm like, one of those books took me 6 weeks to read. I am not reading it again, but I'm quite proud of the fact that I learned it, and that I Yeah, but I just need to see the spine. I just need to see the visual to be reminded of that. And I don't need the book. So I pass the books on to academic people and to Oxfam bookshops. And I now have the frame of the certificate and a frame made of photographs of my graduation ceremony and the spines of the book. So I've reduced the amount of stuff in my house, had a creative thing, and also celebrating, you know, the hard work that I did.
Yeah, I think there's one of the clients I think that we work with, Clara, who has a volunteer and has a lot of free kit that they were given to wear, and wanted to keep the memory of them. And I think we were going to suggest that to her that maybe she could cut bits of it out and maybe even sew them together to make a blanket of all the things that she had helped with, so that they weren't lost. I mean, they were taking up a lot of room in her cupboard, and totally I can see, I mean, I was a volunteer at the Commonwealth Games, and I've still got my jacket and all the nice things that went along with it. But she volunteers a lot and has a lot of free items. And I think we were planning to suggest to her that possibly she could cut bits up, sew them together, and either do something like you've said, Zem, or have a blanket or something like that, just to remember that experience by, but also not have the loads and loads of physical, you know, clothing items that are taking up a lot of room in our cupboard. That's right, isn't it, Clara? Is that what we were going to try to do?
Yes, and it can be something like that, something practical, but also for people who want to let go of things, but let go of the bulk or the weight of the emotion or the footprint of the item, then you can take a photograph, or you can make, like Zem was saying, a craft. You can make a collage, or you can paint, if you're a creative artistic person. But there are ways to let go of things without keeping especially if an item's big, or perhaps an item's sentimental. It might be some inherited sentimental items that you actually don't feel a connection to the item, or you don't enjoy the item, but you feel like you want to keep an aspect of it. And I've had clients take photos, so they know the photo's there. They might not actually ever look at the photo, but it's what you're letting go of, why you're letting go of it, and how you're letting go of it in a way that's respectful to you. Yes, Sam.
And yeah, I wanted to add as well, I say to the group that I run on our courses, so I run a support group called Clutter Chat here in Glasgow. And I say, you know, when you let go of your belongings, don't let go of your sense of belonging. So when you pass on your things, it's not saying that you're needing to let go of that connection, but particularly if they're connections that uplift you and that make you feel good, there are ways of holding on to that relationship and the connections with the objects, whilst letting go of the objects. So as Clara said, you can take a photograph or do a creative project with it, or just have a moment with it, have a conversation with it. Sounds weird and wacky, but it kind of works. So we've got here, I'm Dr. Zem Moffat, and we've got Elaine McKinlay of Clear Mountain and Clara Moore of Joy of Space. And we are your decluttering dream team here, broadcasting from Glasgow. So we've got various devices of people asking questions. No one's actually texted anything in to my little backup phone. So that was a bit of a failure this week, maybe. But if anyone has a question to text in, you can text it to, would one of you ladies read that?
07726530217.
Perfect. 07726530217. I do have a question on my smartphone through the WhatsApp. But does Elaine or Clara, can you see anything on my Facebook feed? Are there any questions coming up?
I can't see anything at the moment, Zen, but could I just add to what Elaine was saying earlier on, which Elaine made a really good point. The client that we work with together, it wasn't just about all of the volunteering the client was doing and the sheer volume of clothing, because they would get not just one set of clothing, and that could be trousers, a jacket, a rucksack, memorabilia. They would get 2 or 3 sets given to them, especially if they were volunteering over more than once a week for that particular activity. So it was looking at, with that client, their habits as well. How much time did they have for volunteering, as well as their home, their work, their relationship, their family? And was it realistic, the amount of volunteering they were doing? Was it adding pleasure and joy to their life, or actually adding burden? So it was looking, it's not just looking at the belongings you have, the amount of belongings that you have, it's looking at your habits as well. And with that particular person, it helped them get more of a life balance. It helped them maybe slightly lessen the amount of volunteering they were doing, feel less pressured by it, have less items come into their house, but enjoy what they were volunteering for more. Would you agree, Elaine?
Yes, yeah, hi, yes, I think so. And that's something that we can all look at. We can look at what about why we leave our home so much. Is it because that we don't want to be in this in and around the environment that we're living in? This is a really good test for us all, being in our own homes for such long periods of time. I was saying to the girls this morning, my house is very, very white and very bright, but we've found a small corner in the house that's really quite dark, and we haven't really noticed it before because we've walked in and out the house, or at the weekends we've been out doing things. But because we're staying in the house so much, and I've seen that dark area, I don't really like that dark area, so I'm going to do a dramatic thing and you know, remove part of the wall, I think.
Yeah, you're not going to like knock it down, Elaine?
Maybe cut a bit out of it. I don't know. I'll need to see structurally how that goes.
We need pictures.
But it's a very good test for us at the moment to see actually how we live in our house. I don't know if you've seen, there's a program on the television, I think it's with Sarah Beanie actually, and they look at the heat, sort of a heat map, and it's how we actually move around our house, what areas of our rooms we use, and how we use the the passageways through our home. And this is we can do this without technology just now. We are living in this, looking at how we use the space around us. Are we using it productively? Is it too bright? Is it too dark? Are we enjoying that one corner of our room more than another corner? Why are we enjoying that corner better than another? These are all questions that we can start to ask ourselves and really help us, once this is all over, to live a better lifestyle.
I think that's really interesting, Elaine. Clara, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yes, I would agree with Elaine. And it's letting us look at our habits and look at how we're using our home and how we're living our life. I know that I've spoken with one of my clients recently by telephone, and prior to the lockdown, we had done a lot of work together on decluttering the client's home, on organising the home so that it was set up to be able to be put on the market for sale as part of that client's goal, wanting to move. And that client said that they're actually able to enjoy their home more because all these small jobs and the tired decoration that were outstanding, that he had prepared the house for someone else to enjoy, for it to go on the market. He's actually loving having that time in the home and enjoying his home now. And I think for all of us, we're spending so much time at home, it's letting us examine how we're using our home. I know I've rearranged my kitchen because it makes more sense for my children and I using the space, and slowly been rearranging different areas of the house, like you, Elaine, looking at the house, looking at how we're using the house, and looking at the wear and tear, to be frank, that my children are putting on the house. So, for example, confiscating the felt tip pens, because you can't be with, well, we're spending so much time in each other's pockets, but as a parent, you can't be with your child all the time, and they get bored, they get creative with what they're doing. So yes, same.
No, I was just going to interrupt. We have a text question through, and I remember this question came last week and we said we'd put it on hold, so I think it's important to answer this one, and then we've got our final question, which I think you ladies know about anyway. So you guys happy to go on for another 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not too much screen time. I'm really aware, having done so much Zooming, everybody out there in the world, that it's actually quite all this screen time. So everyone, just a warning, be careful, be what's the word? Mindful of how much time each of us spend on screen. Having said that, it's lovely to have you all in our living rooms. Absolutely lovely. So we have a question through. I have a problem with paper clutter. I cut out things from, hold on, my, sorry, apologies guys, my computer's doing, here we go, back to that. So I cut out things from magazines, etc., recipes, holidays, health tips. Is there a psychological reason for doing this? I've tidied them in files, but never even get around to looking at them. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. How can I let go of it all, please? Tricky, Elaine.
Okay, so for me, looking at it from the outside, and I don't know who you are, and I don't know you personally, but possibly these are ways of your brain thinking, I would like to do this, so I'll cut this out with the intention to actually start something. And then, unfortunately, you don't get around to doing it because you're overpowering yourself by cutting a wee bit of everything out, the recipes or the craft designs or whatever it is. So I think possibly you have good intentions, which is great, but you're never quite reaching the goal of putting them into actions. Okay. Now the gathering of these things can, and I know that we've spoken to people when we do our course in the University of Strathclyde, that people, this is something that comes up quite a lot, and it says that, people say, oh, I do all this with the great intention of actually putting it into practice and never get round to it, and then I've just got a pile of it all in a corner, whatever. It's about focusing in. We talked about focusing last week. It's about focusing in on one thing at a time. And this is when our minds go out and we're sort of thinking about all different things at the one time. So we need to be mindful. That's another word which comes in, and I take that to clients. Be mindful of what you are doing. Stop, breathe, and think, do I need to cut this out today because I have 5 other ones that I've been meaning to do? Focus on one aspect at a time. So once you've finished the task, if you've cut out a recipe and you really want to try that recipe, put it into action. Okay, try the recipe, and then you've achieved a goal. I think the problem is when you have all these great intentions and you never quite get to it. I think we kind of call it procrastination in a way, where we're thinking we'll like to try and do this, whatever, but we never quite get around to actually doing it. So I think for yourself, this might be a good time to gather up all these books or files or whatever it is that you've got all this stuff in, and really seriously have a sorting exercise about going through them and finding out what you really want to focus on, you really want to try, you really want to make. Discard the rest. So, try and get rid of the rest, so you've only got a small amount of stuff to focus on. And then possibly a good task might be that every second day you have a look at what you've got and try and put that recipe or whatever into practice, if that's possible, or crafting thing or whatever into practice. Achieve that goal. You have good intentions, but I think possibly you're not reaching out and actually fulfilling what you want to do. You're gathering but you're not actually progressing. I don't know, girls, what do you think? Zem, what do you think?
Hello. So I've got a couple of recommendations. I think it's really psychologically, it's very interesting and fascinating. You never quite know, like there's often triggers that happen very, very deep down, and they could be positive associations with recipes from childhood. They could be anything, but there's a couple of good books where you can go to which might help give an understanding. So unfortunately, my Clutter Chat library is in lockdown, so I can't show a demonstration of one of the books, but one that is particularly a particular favorite is called Stuff. And one of the authors is Frost. And it's about 25 years of research into why we hold on to stuff. So if you just look at Stuff, and one of the authors, Frost. And he also does a practical book, which is called Buried in Treasure. So those are two that I would recommend. And the third one is this book called Understanding Hoarding. And it's by Joe Cook, and it's Reclaim Your Space and Your Life. And Joe has done a lot of work in these ideas of attachment and working through with clients. But it's a very long and steady process, and trying to understand yourself and how it happens. But there's a lot of good work out there, and yes, it's a slow process, is what I can say. So, Clara has something to say, and then we're going to wrap up with our final question. Clara.
Yeah, what I would say is, when you're thinking about these items, think about them in terms of, ask yourself questions. Is this a hope, a wish, a dream? Is this a current interest that you have? Is it something that you genuinely would like to do or feel like you should do? And think about where you normally get information from. For example, I worked with a client who gathered what turned out to be a whole recycling wheelie bin of recipes and exercise tips, paper that was causing a lot of stress for them. But where they actually got their information from was through Googling, through the internet, and through books, not through looking at clippings. So after about a year, where they were thinking through on their habits, we only worked together infrequently, they let go of the whole wheelie bin of clippings, and they took such joy, and it was such a relief to them. So think about where you get your information from. How do you enjoy using your information? I've got 3 recipe books in the cupboard. Sorry, I'll just finish.
No, go, keep going.
With them, apart from with the children, because I like to Google and use a recipe and read it off my phone. So therefore, if I'm tempted to buy a recipe book, I don't, because I have 3 that I love, and it's not a form that I don't use books really for recipes. Sorry, Zem.
No, I was just bringing us all up just to give our reactions and to kind of second or third what you're saying. And we just got a text, another text saying, thank you very much, Elaine and us for responding. So we hope it's hopeful and helpful. So ladies, are you ready for our final question?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
I want to say to the person who sent that question in something that Zem says, which I love, which is working at the speed of trust, which work at the speed, the pace that is right for you. So for example, that person I spoke about, it took them a year to think through and go from pre-contemplative to action. And that was at a pace that felt right for that person. Work at the speed of trust, as Zem would say, at a pace that is right for you. So don't put additional pressure on yourself, certainly not at this time when our moods are fluctuating anyway. Thanks, Zem.
Can you read that?
No.
Shouldn't put her number up actually, but thank you, Clara, is what it says. Thank you, Clara. Thanks, everybody. So our final question for today's second episode of Clutter Talk is, I have a question for us. Can you tell me how to pack a suitcase for going away on holiday, and what would they put in first in their suitcase? So can you tell me how to pack a suitcase for going on holiday, and what would be the first item you put in? Now, we all think this is an excellent question coming from someone in
I
Glasgow.
love that question.
It's a great question. And why I think it's a good question is that I often say, think of decluttering as going on holiday. So if you don't know where you're going, you don't know what to pack. So at the moment, we're having to reimagine our home and our spaces. So think of it as a destination, as a holiday. So if I've decided that I want this to be a craft room, therefore I know what I need in it and what I don't need. But the destination, the holiday, is the craft, is to make craft. So I think this is an excellent question. I don't kind of know. I think the first thing I would put in my suitcase, my head first went to my penknife, but I know that's a bad idea, my Swiss Army knife, because if it's going in hand luggage, it's going to be confiscated. So Elaine's like just despairing.
Elaine's putting her head in her hand.
So I'm not allowed to do that. So my first thought is wrong.
And outdoor things. So that makes sense, because I've been on cycles with them where she uses her penknife to cut up an apple. So that makes sense, because Zem's a very outdoors person.
And I'm really, to be fair, everybody in the world, I really just want to do some outdoor swimming at the moment. And that is my biggest sadness about lockdown. So anyway, so I would probably pack in my bag my flippers and my penknife, but I think that's wrong. I don't think I should. Anyway, over to Elaine. Elaine, what would you pick?
Well, I think there's a question, like you've said, Zem, about where are you going? You know, you would pack different things for wherever you're going for. So for example, my dream, well, I should have been away skiing just now. So my dream would be that I would have gone skiing. So one of the first things I would have put in is my ski pants, you know, my woolly socks, my thermals, and all these things can be folded or wrapped up in a different way, especially for an activity like skiing, where weight of your ski boots takes up most of the weight that's in your suitcase. So what we do is we put all our socks in our boots and all our underwear in our boots. We roll all our kit and section it off. We sometimes vacuum pack our ski jackets, because they are bulkier, so we can vacuum pack them so they take up less room in the case. What else do we do? I'm just trying to think. With creams and things like that, we reduce everything down into smaller packs that we can keep in the pockets of our cases. Yeah, I think it depends where you go, and also with skiing, you don't need a lot of clothes for the evening because you're just out for a small amount of time after you're skiing and you're tired. So I don't need a lot of outfits if I go skiing. And the main things are the suits that I wear when I'm out skiing. So I think for me, it would be, I would reduce the evening wear, but concentrate on the high-tech stuff that I need to wear to keep myself safe and warm while I'm doing my skiing. But that would be different, I presume, if you're going to the beach. So Clara, do you want to take that on?
Yes, wherever I was going, the first thing I would pack is at least 6 books, because I love reading. So ever since I was a child, books always go in my bag first, and I prefer books to a Kindle. Then I would pack my running things, because I love running, I love freedom. And I would also pack a small portable speaker for my phone for music, because they are all primary focuses for me. And yes, you need clothing, but I would rather have a capsule wardrobe, and I would rather hand wash at night and allow more room for my books, my running things and music. In terms of packing, like you, Elaine, I would pack, and that's where I find the Marie Kondo method comes in handy. So say for example, this small parcel is actually quite big. It's actually pajama trousers. So packing using the Marie Kondo technique is very useful, and I tend to pack by days. So I'll pack what outfit I need per day, and I also pack a spare outfit in my hand luggage for my children and for myself, because we're a clumsy family. There's spillages, and it's good to just have a spare set of clothing. So yes, wherever I was going, it wouldn't matter. I would be packing running, music and books.
Excellent. Well, thank you everybody for joining us in our living rooms and conservatories. Elaine has something. Oh gosh, Elaine. Yes, Elaine has some publicity to share. She's very good at this. She's very good at product placement. Elaine, go.
So just to finally come up with ways that you can keep in contact with us and get hot tips throughout the weeks and when we're not on live, you can contact me, or you can go to my Facebook page at Clear Mountain Decluttering.
Hold it up, Elaine.
Clear Mountain Decluttering, where I can put, I pop on different top tips every week. And then we've got Clara's at Joy of Space, which is another Facebook page. And obviously you're all on Zem's page just now, but we're also all on Twitter, I think, and Instagram. And you can keep in touch with us in that way. If you need any support on a one-to-one, you can just pop over to all our websites, which is mine is at clearmountaindecluttering.com, Clara's is at joyofspace.uk, and Dr. Zem is at insightfulmoves.com. Insightfulmoves.com. So contact us all there if you need some one-to-one support, either via telephone call or face-to-face Zoom, etc. But we're here to support you, and we have a wealth of knowledge between us. And if we can't help, if I can't help, then I'll pass you on to Clara or Zem, and it would be the same the other way around. So please don't sit thinking you're all alone. You are not. We are all here, and we are all in the same situation, and we all have good days and we all have bad days. So just remember that there is support out there, and if you've got a question in between our weekly slots, just give us a wee comment onto the pages and we can answer that for you.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I had a particularly rough day yesterday and this morning trying to sort of figure out. I thought we could go onto YouTube, but I was a bit hasty. But hopefully now the video from last week is uploaded onto a YouTube feed, which is Clutter Talk Live. So I will somehow let people know that this is out there, and I will also upload this to Clutter Talk Live. And so hopefully next week, cross fingers, you can watch it on YouTube, which I think is a little bit more accessible for people. But I'll let people know on my Facebook account. And hopefully we can spread the word. So thank you everybody for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please keep sending us in your questions in whatever form works for you. And yeah, goodbye. Oh, Clara.
Yeah. I would just like to reiterate to everybody, thanks for joining Elaine, Zem and I, and we would love to hear what your creative storage solutions have been during this time. We'd love to hear that from you, and stay well and stay safe.
Yeah, and next week we can send up, I've worked out how to share screens, so we can like put photographs or whatever. So if you send us pictures through of your creative storage solutions, then we can flash them on. Oh, Elaine has another idea.
So this is your challenge this week. If you choose to accept it, find us a really creative storage solution. Okay, that's your challenge.
That's your challenge.
Or if you just want to share something that's been heartwarming for you, then we'd love to hear positive, heartwarming things as well. Thank you.
Can we go now?
Yes.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.